Not yet? Okay, my bad.
Yay! We're here.
Oh, we did it.
We're live.
Oh my god.
We did it. All right. Hello, everyone.
Hello.
Welcome to What the YA podcast, where we read YA books. And
What the?
Yep, what the yaw.
What the?
We talk about YA books. Okay, hi. So yeah, what are we talking about?
Some very depressing books.
Yeah.
Are they depressing though?
I mean, they're pretty depressing.
Some of them are a little sad.
If you think about the fact that it's
just a tiny bit.
3 orphan children.
One of them a baby.
One of them who is an
fucking
infant.
crawls like crazy. Like, the amount of movement this child does is very impressive.
I can't wait for you to get to the Grim Grotto because
Okay.
Sunny basically scales a mountain.
She already pretty much did in the elevator.
Yeah,
like,
yeah. No, yeah, she's...
with her fucking teeth.
Yeah, no, her teeth are crazy. She's like the most unbelievable part of
Oh,
this
no, for
entire
sure.
story.
For sure.
Is Sunny.
She's very good.
No, yeah, I think they're pretty depressing if you think about the fact that it's 3 orphan children, with the oldest one being 13.
14.
Oh, yeah, 14.
She's 14.
She turns 15 at some point.
Yeah, I was like, Klaus just turned 13.
Yeah. And, who are going from guardian to guardian while a crazed lunatic tries to basically kill them so that he can get their money.
Not all of them. He needs one of them
He needs
to
a-
become of age.
At least, and Violet is the closest.
So, most likely her.
Yeah.
So that would be the easiest
No guarantee.
Yeah.
in obtaining
Yeah,
said money.
I think the stories are funny, but they're pretty depressing when you get to the root of it.
I know, if you just like describe it, it's like, why would I give this to my child?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's really hard to sell, not gonna lie.
He had trouble.
Yeah. And considering every time he starts the book, too, he tells you to put it down.
Yeah.
He's like, you've gone far enough, guys. Please stop reading if you can.
The literal back of the book is just like, dear reader, stop reading the book.
Right. Like,
Just
I'm like,
put this
dude,
down.
aren't
Don't
you
buy
trying
this
to
book.
Well,
It's just
or
like
is that
literally,
just, like,
it's just like
not your goal?
He's just like, I have to suffer through this. You don't.
Put it down. It's okay.
Don't.
No one is forcing you to read this.
I think that's what, like, when I first started reading this series, I think that's what drew me to it more.
But yeah,
Was-
it's like a book I'm not allowed to read. What are you saying?
Yeah.
Maybe that's why he does it then. 'Cause
Yeah, oh
you're-
yeah.
Oh, I was just like, what an idiot. I'm like, there's no possible
Well, 'cause
reason
he's
why
also-
somebody would
Because
do
he's playing the character.
Yeah, he's playing
So-
the
Right.
character.
Let me stick it. Right.
So it's like it's a brilliant tactic as a whole,
Especially for kids. Because they're
Yeah.
like, of course I'm going to read it.
you tell
Something
any
forbidden.
yeah, you tell any kid like I can't read the thing, and they're gonna want to read the thing.
Like, guess what?
They should probably give us our headphones. It's so far. I mean, we don't have to, but it's just gonna be weird.
It's fine. They don't care.
Yeah, whatever.
If it gets
All-
bad, we'll figure it out.
yeah, true facts. Anyway,
So,
yeah,
last time we read books 1 through 4.
yes.
We had many things to say.
Foundation, if you will.
Yeah, and now we're reading books 5 through 9, which is like the midpoint, turning point, all the fun pinch points.
Yeah,
of
it's like the
series.
point, the turning point, and goes really dark. That's where like the really dark shit really starts to come.
Hmm And like the actual mystery that's happening behind the scenes is kind of coming more to the forefront of their minds, at least. Like, we've noticed it, but now they're like, oh,
I think
I'm going
once
to
you get,
Right.
go
once you get
after
introduced to Jacques in Vile Village, I think that's when they realize there's so much more
Right.
happening.
this. Right.
Especially because he's like, oh my god, like, the Belvedere's, like, or whatever.
The Baudelaire.
The Baudelaire's.
That's like something.
Belvedere's.
That's like something Olaf would say.
The you know, like, what's your name again? I just met you for the 15th time.
Yeah. Yeah. I think once like, because like yeah, like
Belvedere? What is it?
Baudelaire.
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 I'm reading it. I'm not saying it out loud.
It's the Baudelaires.
The
The Baudelaires. Yeah, it's like you get introduced to Jacques, and then I think that's when they realize their parents aren't who they think they weren't who they think they were, and then they realize that like their parents knew Olaf, like, he's like playing off to be as like a distant cousin, but like their relationship is actually more than that. And then and then it escalates. It just keeps escalating. Like after that,
knows everybody.
Yeah, everybody's tied together in some way.
It's just a big giant conspiracy.
Yeah.
Which is like, as soon as you read it when you're like 12, it's like, I want to know all the secrets.
Yeah, exactly. I'm still like that to this day.
That was like super fucked up in the end of the elevator thing, that they like came up in their like house's ashes.
Yeah.
Like I was like, holy shit.
That was like,
I was like so like, I'm like, oh my god. I was a joke.
That was like literally like, I think you reached that moment and that reveal of just like,
everything's connected.
Right?
Like there's
like, how
more.
long has the secret passage been here?
Because like at this stage, it was just like there's these kids who their parents died, and it was very sad, and they had like a horrible like distant cousin take over their the role of parent for them, who was awful, and then made it very apparent that all he wanted was their money, and then it was just like them just trying their hardest to just escape him and like just get over the fact that their parents have died and mourn that loss, but can't really. And then the end of Airset's elevator, where like a whole bunch of shit happens, and then they just come out into the middle of their burnt down house, and it was just like,
it's like, all right, this is more than I thought, and I have so many feelings that I can't express.
I have emotion. I have weird.
Well, you know, this whole thing, it's just making them bond more as a family. So really,
truly, honestly,
tiny half of a family.
Thank you. Yes. They're a broken family. Which is really sad. Which I'm just like, why? Where are like the grandparents? Like maybe their grandparents could like fight the like will to be like.
And the fact that nobody like wants them, they're like, oh god, Mr. Poe. I'm just like, bro.
I can't wait till we finish this because we're gonna watch the Netflix series.
Oh my god.
Oh, I hate him.
I love the actor they got though. He's so perfect.
It's like the actor who plays Mr. Poe is fucking brilliant. But oh my god.
Does he cough a lot in the
TV series? Yes.
Oh, cool.
That's his entire thing.
It's all good.
That's his entire character.
Yeah, it really is.
Like, there's this beautiful song at the end of the episode of the Austere Academy where they were, like, singing. And it's, like, this beautiful moment. And it's this great song. And then Mr. Poe is singing his verse. And then he literally coughs at the end. It's like...
When become unless he's coughing.
Yeah, exactly. Basically, wearing a bowler hat and just being a general asshole about everything.
Yeah. Don't ruin my bank's reputation, children, with your lies and nonsense of your hysteria, just thinking that a man is chasing you, which, by the way, he is.
But by the by. that's like one of the things we talked about, because since you weren't here, we can also give like a kind of recap of stuff we talked about in books 1 through 4. One of the things we brought up, because there is a controversy around this book of whether it is actually appropriate for children, and one of the reasons it's been banned in certain schools,
really,
is because of the representation of adults and the interpretation of the adults in the series.
Every single adult just sucks.
And the argument for
Hector's cool.
Hector's dope. There's some adults that are great that you'll meet.
Stupid.
Yeah,
all the good adults die.
Yeah, that's the...
Yeah, Monty died. That was... I loved him.
Jacques dies.
Everyone dies.
Other characters
who
you haven't met yet will die.
Everyone I have...
It's like Game of Thrones. Don't get attached to anyone.
Yeah, don't get attached. But
Game of Thrones for children. Who will survive?
Kind of is.
Yeah, if you think about it, a little bit. Evil people are evil, but other people don't believe that they're evil because, like, they have ties to them in certain ways. Yeah, it's very Game of Thrones-esque. Just set in, like, a more...
Snicket is on the right track.
Yeah. But anyway, the main argument for the controversy was that by depicting these adults as idiots and not working with the children who are in abusive situations won't be likely to come to those adults, like to adults, to tell them of those things. And I was like, okay, you bring up a valid point. But also, this is a gross exaggeration, and kids aren't that stupid And I
Right.
always like have the issue of like people thinking kids are stupider than they are.
And it's like we said, there are good
Yeah.
adults in the series. They just happen to die, but they
Yeah.
still, there's orphans, still ask them for help and
Yeah,
stuff.
yeah, absolutely.
But like every adult that's like in here, even like the good ones, like I don't remember Esme's husband's name,
Jerome.
but like, oh yeah, Jerome. Like he was like, I don't want to argue, so I'll just agree with you, and I'm like, fucking idiot. And then Hector is like, oh yeah, like I can't speak in front of them, so sorry kids, I guess you're murderers. Like,
Yeah.
are you fucking joking?
But like with that, I would say that there are actual people like that out there.
Yeah.
And I think what's
There's a lot of adults like that.
like what I think is like great about the Baudelaire children is that they are able to tell the difference between people who are fundamentally good and fundamentally not good. And even when they do give Olaf a chance to be good or whatever, and he proves them wrong, they're like, okay, well, we now know that he's not a good dude.
Yeah.
And every person that they meet, they give the chance to be good.
Right.
And they fundamentally, like, him up short every time. Like, Josephine was basically like, I'll give you the children. I don't care if you don't let me get eaten by the leeches. It's
Right.
fine. Like...
Monty was the best when he died.
Yeah, Monty was great. Monty Wood is the coolest. R.I.P. But like, it's just like I think what the books show, and like I get the controversy around it and why people are probably concerned about it, but I think what the books show is that like you can still ask for help, and like the point is like when you find like to tell the difference between people that you can go to help to and who you can't go to help to.
Yeah.
And like obviously they tried to go to Mr. Poe, and then Mr. Poe
Right.
fucked that up right out the gate. So they're like, okay, we can't go to Mr. Poe. Then they
Got
met
it.
Justice Strauss, and they were like, we can go to Justice Strauss. And Justice Strauss was trying to help them
Right.
in the only way that she could, which is via the law, because she's a judge, and that's her entire character is the law.
Oh,
They're very caricature-y,
Yeah,
which doesn't
very.
help. So they're
Yeah.
like, no, this is who I am, so I have to stick to it at all times.
Yeah, exactly. And yeah, I think it's just like, and it's like all of the things, and like Vice Principal Nero is just. I mean, he's named Nero, so I
Exactly.
mean,
I know,
and he
but,
plays
like-
the fiddle, so it's just
God.
he's
Oh my
basically the representation of just an evil person.
Ugh.
But there's also I've been to so many schools, and there have been teachers like that.
Like he was the vice principal. Where the fuck was the real principal? The
At meetings.
superintendent. Like,
Actually running the school.
oh, like I just want to know.
And then what's her tits? The little girl that like at the academy.
Oh god. Spats?
What's her name?
Who? Oh, the evil one.
Yeah, the little bitch.
God. What's her first name?
What's her fucking name?
Carmelita.
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 Carmelita
Sparks? Spats?
Spats.
Spats? What, I knew it was SP.
Spats.
Carmelita Spats. She's just an asshole.
Yeah.
And whatever.
Calling everyone a cake sniffer for some reason. I don't.
I wouldn't mind
Well,
sniffing cakes. That sounds
Cake
great.
means ass, so
That's
ass
true.
sniffer.
That's probably what it is. That makes sense. But she's a child.
It
so
makes
they-
sense. It's
Okay.
just annoying.
She's just an asshole.
I do enjoy the names of people.
Yeah, the names are great.
Everybody's names are pretty
But it's
cool.
like the same with like the Vile Village. Like it was just a village of people who believed a thing, an entire
Those people
ideology,
also-
all their rules.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh.
They're like,
Yay,
oh.
group mentality.
We're gonna have them do all of our chores because they're children.
Yeah.
And that's what
orphans.
children should do.
Yeah.
That's
'Cause we're
their
all-
only function, right? That's why people
Right.
have kids,
Yeah.
so that they can clean everything.
So everyone knows.
That's what my parents said to me a lot.
Oh yeah, I got that a lot too.
I need a dishwasher. I have 3.
Exactly.
Thanks, Mom.
And Brittany's parents had 4 children to do all the chores. So.
Five.
Oh yeah, 5.
Forgot about her sibling.
I'm sorry. She has a lot. It's very hard to remember all of them.
It's okay. You stop counting after 3.
Yeah, after a while. Yeah. There's that one.
No
Fine.
need to-
Yeah.
Continue counting.
Sorry, Kelsey and Lainey.
Sorry. I stopped
Kelsey's
caring after
sibling.
Kenzie came through. Yeah, it's just like it. Like I think like there's like a duality to everything. Like there's very horrible children, and there's very like great children, and there's very horrible adults, and there's very great adults. And for people to just be like, the children won't know the difference. Like, no, they will.
Right.
They will very well.
The Baudelaires.
The
Whatever the fuck
Baudelaires.
they're called.
Baudelaires.
The 3 children that we're following through these
The
13...
orphans. Just call them the orphans.
Just the orphans.
The orphans.
Orphans.
Are genuinely, like, good people, though. Because even when they were like, we're going to burn Olaf at the stake, they were like, you probably shouldn't do that. Even before they realized it was Jacques.
Yeah.
Like, not Olaf.
Not Olaf,
Omar.
Yeah. Omar?
Omar, yeah.
Count Omar?
I love all of his names.
Like, it was Olaf, so you admit it! That's him! No, that's still the wrong person, just the right name.
Yeah. Yeah, that's a lot of it. And, like, yeah, there's, like, he has a unibrow. It's like,
a lot of people do, I swear!
But he has the tattoo.
Yeah, that's
like...
like...
for my job.
Yeah.
Your job requires you to get a tattoo? That's where I was lost.
Yeah.
But that's cool.
You'll learn. Actually, you won't. You won't really learn much of anything at all. But yeah, and it's like at the hospital, there was that guy. What's his name? The dude who kept track of the files. I can't remember his name.
This is why wikis are invented.
Yeah. Well, there's like a there's a what was his name? I just can't remember. As a scholar, blah blah, you're not important. Hook-handed man.
Hal.
That's right. I was like, it starts with H because it's the hostile hospital, so it has to start with an H. But like he was like a legitimately good dude, and they felt legitimately awful for like having to steal the keys to the file room from him because he was such a like a legitimately sweet and swell dude.
Some things have to be done.
And yeah, and that was basically their thing. Is like, we have to do this. Like, we have to get into that file room. We have to do the thing
But
that we
did
do. But did they though?
I mean,
and yeah,
it's like the whole curiosity killed the cat sort of thing.
Yeah.
It's like they were going in there for just information that would have been nice to have, but
it wasn't.
Could have just moved along because we knew that bad people were here.
Yeah, we knew that there was people here who we should really get away from.
Yeah, but they can't leave because they were on it.
Yeah.
That was their only option of escape.
Yeah.
Was to go with them.
And then they go to the hospital, and then they go to a carnival.
In the back seat, like the trunk, I guess,
of a bullet-ridden car.
Right. Like, great idea, children. Like, you're not trapped already. Like, let's just get in there ourselves so he doesn't have to do any more work.
Yeah. Yep. And then they kind of did it again. So.
I mean,
yay!
It worked the first time perfectly well.
Oh, I know.
We'll just get away with it. We're so lucky.
Yeah.
We're the luckiest kids.
How fortunate. Yeah. Oh, there's Carmelita. Look at her. Isn't she just the greatest? She makes an appearance again.
Oh, I love the Memento Mori thing.
Oh, yeah.
I was like, what? Like, I knew what that meant already, but like, I'm just like, how the fuck is that? Like no parent who comes has been like,
no,
that's an odd motto.
That's a good lesson for my child to learn.
Right.
Yeah.
That's like some Slytherin shit. Like, it should be there.
Which is Brittany's house.
Nice.
Maybe that's why I just left.
Probably.
So evil.
But yeah, if we go through like a quick plot, like run through of what happens between the All-Star Academy to the Carnivorous Carnival.
Okay. So
at the end of the Miserable Mill. Yeah, at the end of the Miserable Mill, Violet, Class, and Baudelaire are put into the care of Vice Principal Nero, who plays the fiddle.
Horribly
at that.
Why were they put into the school? Because were they just put there until they could find another guardian?
I think so.
They were just
like
like
that.
sent away to school.
Like,
Yeah.
we don't want to deal with you anymore. God,
No, that's exactly
you're so
what
troublesome.
Yeah.
Because the lumber mill guy was like, well, you fucked up my lumber mill, so I'm going to send you away. He was still technically the guardian, I think, and then he sent them away.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
And
Basically.
that's why.
But yeah, Principal Nero becomes their like pseudo guardian in this instance because there's a guardian in every single episode, in every single book of some sort, in every single episode.
Episode.
Violet and Klaus basically go to school. They do classes, but
Kind of.
Sunny, who is an infant,
Becomes the secretary.
becomes his secretary.
Because babies can't go to school, so obviously the only option left is to become a secretary.
Obviously, it's great. It's fine.
Clearly.
They meet a girl named Carmelita Spatz, who's just the
Evil.
awfulest person on the planet. But they meet two of three triplets, Duncan and Isadora. Their parents and their other brother, or was it Quigley? Died in a fire. Suspiciously.
Yeah, I was like,
That's weird.
Suspiciously. And they're really sad about it, and everyone keeps referring to them as twins, and the Baudelaire's like, they're triplets.
No,
They're
there's
like,
only two of them.
death of their brother doesn't change their birth identity. And I like when the other person's like, oh, it was Mr. Poe. He was like,
Yeah.
actually, it does. And they're like, no.
No.
Stillborn 3.
Nope.
it's just so awful.
This is all wrong.
All wrong. But they're like cool kids. Isadora likes poetry. She does things in couplets.
Pretty cool.
Duncan, what does Duncan do?
He wants to be in investigative journalism.
Got
And he
it,
has
right.
His notebook and stuff.
Yeah,
With a
he was-
notebook.
no.
They're suffering through school together, but they made friends. The Baudelaires have to live in the orphan hut, which Isadora and Duncan lived in prior to them, but now that the
Right.
Baudelaires are there, they don't have to live there anymore.
They got graduated to the dorms.
Dorms. So they get to live in basically a hut outside.
It's just kind of four walls, kind of strung together with twine.
And there's crabs.
Oh yeah, there's crabs on the
Crabs
floor.
on the floor.
Yeah,
And dripping
it
moss on
yeah,
the
it oozes
ceiling.
moss every now and
It's
then.
just bad.
Oh.
It's good. It's a good time. Anyway,
It's
so
basically
as for-
punishing them for being orphans.
Yeah,
Right.
Because it's
Which-
their fault.
yeah. How dare your parents die on you?
A fire that probably somebody created.
Oh, they did.
Oh, I know. But I'm
Oh.
just saying, like,
Oh, it was. It
is
was
there, did they get
manufactured.
money for the insurance on that fire? Or they never explained that.
I'm pretty sure it was probably added to like
The fortune.
the fortune, probably. Makes sense to me. Anyway,
Here's your extra $2.
whatever.
It
you
wasn't
go.
that important of a building. With
Yeah,
all
whatever.
those books
House-
and whatever.
This is probably before they had home insurance.
So of course, Count Olaf.
But
has to
yeah,
show up
of course,
somewhere.
Count Olaf shows up dressed as his Coach Genghis.
With the
And he's
turban.
wearing a
The best
turban,
German teacher in the world.
best red tracksuit, some high top sneakers that cover his tattoo, and the turban covers his unibrow because those are the only things that make him Count Olaf. Nothing else makes him Count Olaf. He shows up and he does some shit. Kids get punished. They have to participate in a program where they basically have to run in a circle all night,
Yeah.
And
Which
then-
is pretty great.
and then it forces them to fail their classes
Because they're so
they're
tired.
so tired. And then they have to do an exam to prove that they, I don't know, weren't being awful or something. I don't know.
Prove they weren't bad students.
Yeah, that's it. That's what it was. So they enlist Isadora and Duncan to help them so that they could trade off. So Violet would go to their hut and study while Isadora ran in her place, and then Duncan would run in Klaus's place every now and then Sunny, who had to prepare for her secretary
Test.
exam.
You had to make statements.
Yeah, she didn't make statements.
No one needs to do that.
They would get a wagon and they put a bag of flour in the wagon and then they just dragged it along.
Because that looks like a baby.
Yeah, which is the stupidest idea.
Because Olaf's that far away.
But it's
so-
super dark at night, so obviously a bag of flour is going to look like an infant.
Yeah, obviously.
I mean,
I-
the way they did it on the show, I guess it kind of worked.
Yeah,
Because
yeah.
he wasn't really paying attention, sort of thing.
Yeah. They they made it work.
Because they had to, but they just made
Does he
everything
do-
very dark.
I can't remember if he does it in the book versus in the show, but at one point, like the rope, untie, like in the show. I can't remember if this happens in the book, but the rope unties from the bag, and so the bag is just like sitting like at the end, and like the other, I can't remember which of the situation was happening, but like they just like, it was when Isadora and Duncan were running and Klaus and Violet were studying, and they just stop and they're just like looking and they're just watching Olaf walk towards the flower, and then he looks at it and then just kicks it.
Poor Sonny.
And but all the time he's like, baby, run.
He knows it's a baby.
In his head it is the baby, and just
Oh my god!
And of course it just explodes, and he's still like, what is wrong with this baby?
Why is it oozing white?
Where is its blood?
It's so great. but basically their plan gets
He's
spoiled.
such like a dumb, evil genius. I don't understand.
I still just love the nonchalant way he just
move it, baby.
kicked it is still so funny.
go.
In my head, just imagine Neil Patrick Harris just walking back and forth.
I must see this now.
It's so good. We'll pull up a YouTube clip of just that part so that nothing
Over
else.
and over and over and over.
It's so good. But anyway, their plan basically gets foiled, and they have to they just whatever bullshit happens. They take their exam and they pass, and then they somehow reveal that Genghis is. I think Sonny rips his turban off.
Yeah, they run after him because they got really strong legs from running
Yeah,
last.
So they're able to keep up.
So they run and then they whip it off, and then they realize, but he already got to the car where Isadora and Duncan were in.
Yeah, Isadora and Duncan were
They're
ushered in the car.
Help, VFD, help.
Help!
Right.
VFD! 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 And then they drive away into the distance.
Right.
And then
End book.
End book.
So, reading up to that point, what did you think VFD was?
I had no idea.
I mean, it could literally have been anything
I know.
because it gives you stuff that could be the acronym, be the explanation of the acronym. And when you find out what it is, you're just like, oh well, fuck you. So it's because they love acronyms in the VFD. There's acronyms for everything, which is what the acronym for what Coach Genghis made them do was SOAR, which was, what did it stand for? Special Orphan Running Exercise.
Yeah.
Because they just really love acronyms. So up to this point, I don't know what I knew it was something related to why their parents died and why their house burned down.
Yeah.
But I had no
Or at
idea
least
what
the start of
Yeah.
Count Olaf's evil.
Yeah, I think at initially I just thought it was what Count Olaf was a part of.
Yeah, secret
that was
society,
his how he was able to get where his little hench people came from, and where.
What was not an acting troupe?
Yeah, but it was basically with the VFD being introduced, it was oh, are they just their front is an acting troupe and reality?
All these questions.
Yeah. So yeah, you get told the VFD and you're like, okay, this means something. What is it fucking mean?
Yeah, and now it's the whole story is oh, there's this whole other thing happening.
Yeah. VFD references. As Kendall throws away, Duncan Quagmire yells, VFD! Thank you, Duncan.
Thanks.
Appreciate you.
And then they clobber him to unconsciousness.
Yeah.
Yay.
Basically.
So
And that's
then-
basically. Yeah, so then the kids get taken to Jerome and Esme Squalor, who live on 667 Dark Avenue, which is right by the Baudelaire mansion, which is wouldn't these be the closest vicinity then?
Well, they're not relatives.
Oh,
and it
I guess
needed
that
to be a
makes
relative. They
Gotcha.
were just
But
friends.
Orphans are in now.
Yeah, orphans
Yeah.
are in. Oh, that's why. I think
Yeah.
it was actually that they could have, but Esme didn't want them because orphans weren't in. But now
They
they
were
are
out.
in. They were out, now they're in.
Esme only cares about what's in.
Yeah. That's all they care about in Dark Avenue. Right now, light is out, so it's dark.
So
Jerome is just like, whatever, she's my wife, I like her.
Right.
that's good.
Yeah. Poor Jerome. He's just he's such sad. The actor who plays Jerome in the show is so good.
I know. When they revealed them, I was like, these two are so perfect.
Yeah.
For these characters.
Have you seen Ella Enchanted?
Yes.
The stepsister Hattie, really annoying one.
The blonde.
The blonde. They're both blonde.
Oh, okay.
They're both blonde. She's the really annoying one who like takes her necklace and she's generally awful. Yeah. Not Olive, who's the idiot one.
Not the pigtails.
Yeah, not the pigtails. The other one.
Okay, I think I know.
She plays Esme in the show, and she just does it.
It's perfect.
Beautifully. Did you know that actress has played like Cinderella's stepsister?
Oh yeah, I looked that up after I watched season 2. I was like looking up stuff about everyone, and I was like, oh god, she's done this so many times.
Yeah, she as an actress has played like a Cinderella's evil stepsister in like 6 different productions.
Oh my gosh, that's like you were.
She's perfect.
Has a type. She knows.
She's so good at it.
Yeah, she's so good at being awful.
She's probably the sweetest person.
Yeah, like if you watch interviews, she's like super nice. Aww. But yeah, she's just like, she also reminds me of Sydney. Like her face shape reminds me of Sydney a lot. Anyway, so they're taken to 667 Dark Avenue because light is out. So there's trees that just block the sun. It's dark. It's very dark.
When light's back in, they just cut down the trees.
Yeah, and light comes back. Like light becomes in again, and then it's like everything just freaks out. But they meet Jerome and Esme, who live like a penthouse apartment on 667 Dark Avenue, and lots of stairs.
It's like
the elevators are broken, so they have to take the stairs.
Or the 63rd floor. No, it's not broken. Elevators were out. So
at the beginning, elevators are out, so everyone has to walk up the stairs.
Right. To walk upstairs.
Or 63.
It's 66 flights to the penthouse.
Yeah, but like in the beginning they were like, oh no, it was 83 or 38. That's what they said, and then eventually she was like, no, I counted them. There's actually like 36 or something.
Nice, solid, good time. So yeah, they walk up a bunch of fucking stairs, and then they get to wear these pinstripe suits, which in the show look really nice, but in the book they're just awful.
I can just imagine like, but they're people that they want their suits to be tailored.
Unacceptable.
Apparently.
Unacceptable. Yes. But they're generally nice and kind, and Jerome is.
Well, Jerome is, Esme doesn't really care that the orphans are there. They're
in.
Yeah, but she's not really like hurting them.
Yeah,
you know,
right.
She's just sort of there, and they're like, maybe this can work. Like, at least it's a nice place.
Yeah, I love the Salmonella restaurant.
Oh, Cafe Salmonella.
I was dying. I was like, a Salmonella. As a child, nobody knows what this is.
You know,
just think salmon.
Salmon, right?
Salmonella?
Salmonella. But yeah, they go to a restaurant, and I think isn't that when we first meet Count Olaf?
Yes.
Yeah.
Right before they go to said restaurant.
Yeah. Because he's pretending to be like an auctioneer
who doesn't speak English.
Doesn't. His name
foreign?
is. His name is.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
We're remembering things. They go, then like immediately the kids are like, the fuck?
This is Count Olaf.
And I think they pretend to have like food poisoning or something.
I don't think so.
I can't remember anything anymore. Wait, hold on.
Let's go to the
restaurant.
Oh yeah, okay. They go to the restaurant. She tells them that they will stay in the penthouse with Gunther and discuss the inn auction, which explains the auction that you sell everything that is in. Gunther will be the auctioneer.
And they make a joke about selling the orphans.
Right.
Wouldn't that be funny?
Yeah, it's like, but you can't auction orphans, of course. Well, we still will.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Jerome explains to them he thinks they're being that's right. They try to tell Jerome that like Count Olaf is like whatever, and he's like, guys, don't be xenophobic, all right? He's a foreigner. He's a nice man. Be nice.
And Klaus is just like,
he's like, I don't understand, please. What? He kept saying, please.
Please. What
do you mean, please? I do not
They tried to encourage Jerome to argue with Esme more and stand up for himself, basically. But he's like, no.
It's fine. Whatever she wants. I don't want to argue.
The doorman says no one is allowed in the penthouse until Gunther leaves, and he says he hasn't. Jerome explains that he may be on his way down, so the doorman lets them go. When they reach the penthouse, Esme tells them that Gunther left a long time ago. Fucking doorman.
So, yeah.
So the doorman, like, confused me, kind of. Because, like, he was working with Count Olaf.
Uh-huh.
But,
the
like,
hook-hand man.
was he just...
With fake hands.
Right, was he just, like, being an idiot? Or was he just trying to confuse them? Like, was he trying not to make them ever go back in the penthouse? Like, because, like, he
I don't know if he knows.
I think, like, oh, no, he didn't have fake hands. He had an oversized coat that covered his hook hands. Like, remembering pictures from story. I think his intention was, like, if I can keep them here, then they can pull the car around and grab them. That's, I think, what my thinking was.
But, like, when they first came back with Jerome still, like, he was like, you have to stay in the lobby.
Right.
Because he hasn't left. But obviously he knew he didn't leave because he was in the elevator shaft.
Right. Yeah. I actually, honestly, have no
Also,
idea.
how is he putting up seashell decorations with his hook hands?
Magic.
I mean,
There's this whole other subplot where there's, like, magic and magicians happening. It's fine.
Yeah. It's like a different...
My bad.
book. Alright. Don't worry about it.
I wish. Oh my god.
Save that for next time.
Jerome offers to take them to a tailor at some point.
Yes, and then that's when Esme said they were being ungrateful for their pinstripes. Which pinstripes are never in.
No.
For the record.
The record, guys. So everybody knows.
So they go through the house because they're looking for Gunther, but the house is really huge, so they, like, use stuff to, like, remember where they've been. Breadcrumbs, yeah.
Which is just, like, imagining how big that has, like...
It's so funny.
Like, why would you have a penthouse that big?
Right. But he's like, hey, guys, make sure you're, like, watching where you eat, because there's been a lot of crumbs around lately.
Yeah.
And then they're like, oh, shit.
Oh, right, yeah. Totally. We'll keep track of that stuff.
Totally.
No worries. But they don't find them, and then they're like, well, okay, like, maybe we can, like, look around at the other apartments, and they start going to the other apartments and, like, listening at doors. And they don't find him. At some point, they go, like...
When do they realize what the elevator actually is?
That's what I'm currently trying to figure out.
Like, when does that happen? What triggers that? Because that's the funny thing, too. Like, I never realized this. I guess it doesn't say it, or it does in the book at the end.
They reach the bottom and find nothing, but the fact that the building is 66 stories high. Great. The doorman is putting up decorations on the elevator, and Klaus begins to think really hard.
Really hard.
That... What? About what? Klaus, what are you thinking about? Klaus. Klaus.
And when Klaus thinks hard, he does not hear his sisters. Because they were talking to him, and he was just,
at that
like,
time,
staring.
Esme and Jerome come in with crates of parsley soda. They climb the staircase while Esme is talking, Klaus is thinking, and the rest are quiet.
Oh, that's when. Because, so, like, at the bottom, he was like, if he never left, he has to still be here.
Right.
And because the elevators never used, they got to the top.
Yeah.
He realized that there was an up button on the very on the very top floor. So obviously that's suspicious.
Yeah. That night, Klaus says that there's one elevator in each floor except the top floor, which is 2. They go to investigate and find 1 is an ersatz elevator, which means fake.
I know. If you knew that before even reading the book, you would be like, look in the elevator.
I didn't know that.
Yeah. Me either.
No kid does.
And you don't look it up because you're just like, I need to know what's happening. I need to read.
I need to read. We from the title, like, okay, it's something to do with the elevators.
Right.
But you don't know what ersatz means, so you're like, check the elevator.
Does that mean we're going up or down?
Is that the name of it?
Yeah, it's like that the name, is it like the like the apartment building?
Yeah.
So what is it? They go to investigate and find 1 is an they then make an ersatz rope.
Yeah, they do.
Out of cords, ties, and curtains.
Lol.
They climb down and find the quagmires trapped in a large cage at the bottom. Oh god!
It's our friends! Twist. Didn't know that was coming, did you?
Look what we found down here.
I just like you do that and then just slowly just off a frame. Okay. So they go down there and they're like, okay, we can try to get out of the cage or whatever, and they try, but it doesn't work, right? Something, whatever.
Well, so they climbed back.
They're like, we have to go get something. So so they all leave.
Fire tongs.
Yeah, fire tongs. There you go. And when they went back down, they were gone, and then Violet got super depressed.
Right.
She's like, nothing I do works.
God, poor Violet. Poor everyone. Yeah. These poor children.
She's just really trying. I love this picture, by the way. This is good. They find a note from Jerome. They go back up to the penthouse and they find a note from Jerome that he's left and that Esme will take them to the auction. Klaus goes through the catalog and he finds lot number 50 is named VFD.
Has to be that one.
Has to be that one. It's got to be where the twins.
Because we don't know what it means.
Right. Exactly.
That's where all the mystery is. So they go to the auction.
So yeah, they go. No, they. Esme arrives and she's like, "Okay, let's go to the auction." And then she presses the button for the elevator and she pushes them into the Airsense elevator.
And immediately they're like,
"Oh,
well,
right, yeah." They hit a net at the bottom and become trapped. Esme laughs and says that Olaf is a wonderful person and that he was her acting teacher. She leaves them and goes to the auction. So they're trapped in this like netting cage situation,
but Sunny gets them out.
Sunny gets them out and basically climbs the shaft.
With her teeth.
With her teeth.
One tooth at a time.
Yeah. And then she's like, she basically like bites through the ropes. They get out. They climb through the hole till they reach the bottom. At the bottom of Violet's.
That's when they find the passage.
Yeah. Which they light the way, they go through the passages, then they like go through a trapdoor and like ash is falling on them and they find out they come through in the Baudelaire mansion, which has been destroyed in the fire. It's a very sad, crazy moment of just like, what the fuck?
What is happening?
And like that's when you like remember that it's like really close, like where they're at is really close to their mansion, because like you forget that they're actually like really close to like where their house used to be.
Yeah. You're like, you did join at a very interesting time, Albelio.
Oh, hi, John.
I was like, I know who that is. Who is it?
Climbs the shaft with her teeth. Yes, John. Some girls do that.
It's a thing.
It's a thing. It's a thing. Promise.
It's just weird when babies do it.
Anyway, so they have this moment in the house,
which is very sad, and they're depressed, and they're like, our whole lives are very depressing. And maybe is this when they're like, maybe we should do something about that? And that's when they start going toward the mystery themselves? I
think so, yeah. I think that's when they were like, well, we have to fucking do this.
They're like we can't rely on anyone anymore.
Yeah, we have to rely on ourselves.
For life.
So they go to the auction hall, and, like, they convince Jerome to, like, bid on VFD. Lot number 50, which is VFD. Right before that is lot number 48, a statue of a red herring.
Haha. Oh. If you know what a red herring is, you're like, oh.
Which bothers me so much, because Klaus, who reads everything, should know what a red herring is.
But that's his weakness. His weakness is missing the obvious.
True.
Right? They weren't really focused on like.
It just makes me so upset. They were like, a red herring, and I'm like, guys, it's they hid it to you on a plate.
He's only 12. Leave him alone.
Oh, God. So they win the VFD, but it's like very fancy doilies. Nothing.
And now there's doilies everywhere.
Just doilies.
Hey, doilies
and then Count Olaf's identity is revealed when he slips on a doily and his boots and monocle come off.
It's that's Olaf, right. But they're already running away.
Because when he squinted his eye, then he didn't look like he had one eye.
Yeah, it was just like,
work, but whatever.
That's not how it works, but it's fine. He and Esme run out of the auction hall.
Adults just don't want to believe orphans.
No.
That's
children in general.
Yeah, just children. This comes back to my thing of like, people think kids are stupider than they are, but kids are really smart.
Some kids are.
All right, yeah, some kids are stupid, but
some kids are fucking idiots.
But like, especially kids now in today's age, like there's.
Okay, but everyone says that.
Yeah.
When you're a kid, you don't think that.
True. But like, it's like I feel like it's just like kids are smarter than adults think they are, and like they try to protect their innocence or whatever. But it's like that's not. Trust me, like especially with today's age of being able to access literally anything on the internet,
there is no innocence.
There is, like your innocence is gone real fast.
Sad.
And even then, even without the internet, the minute they start going to school, their innocence is gone. Because there's one other kid who has access to internet who will tell them everything.
Just watch Black Mirror.
Yeah, it's like that, like literally
that
that's Black Mirror.
Oh, it's so sad. Okay, anyway, so
I've seen one episode. It's that one episode was really good.
Yeah, it fucks with you
anyway,
in a lot of ways. Anyway. So, the red herring has the twins in them, which I'm like, anytime I'm like, I read that, and even with the show, I'm like, how big is it?
Well, I mean,
and
how
small,
some difficult.
How small are the triplets?
Yeah, how small are they that they can fit? Because even in the show, you're just like, you're looking at it, and you're like, I don't know
how do they physically exist in there?
Yeah, exactly. It's just like
they're tied up.
Yeah, obviously.
It's very uncomfortable. But they don't care.
Very close. Yeah. But maybe like the red herring has the twins in it, the triplets in it, and now I'm doing it. And they get taken away. They run away. The doorman is actually the hook cannon man. Wow.
Everyone's working for Count Olaf. Who saw that coming? Everyone. All right. And then they get away because that's. What happens.
The Baudelaires try to chase after them to get to their friends. Jerome is like, no, it's too dangerous. Jerome quits being their guardian. He's just like, I quit.
That was total betrayal.
Yeah.
I like felt for those children at that point in time. I was like, holy fuck.
That was the only adult that was going to like maybe help them.
Super unfortunate.
Yeah. Yeah, and then they get taken to their next guardian, which is an entire village.
Well, they get to pick.
Yeah, that's true. They get to pick.
They got to pick their village.
They're like,
they pick it because the town's name is VFD.
Yeah, but VFD does not stand for what they think it does.
No.
It stands for
what is it? The Village of Fowl Devotees.
Right. There you go. Because crows.
And fowl spelled Fowl.
Yes, because crows.
Like crows. So this book is considered the turning point of the book,
and it's the best.
Yeah, it's easily the best.
I really like it.
This book is considered to be the plot twist of the series because the Baudelaires can no longer call on Mr. Poe for assistance after the events of this book, although he was barely there for it to begin with.
Right.
And the children are deemed criminals. Also, after this point, the Baudelaires are not assigned any legal guardian. So it's like a turning point. It's also where like the mystery of the VFD really starts to fold a little bit. We get more information because we meet more people who are part of the VFD, and it's great. It's like it's shock.
So, do we want to go through the plot first, I guess? But
I can prove kids are morons. Looks at my niece and nephew. Okay, well, your niece and nephew have horrible parents, minus your brother. But like,
I was like, we know.
I'm just saying. They're morons, but that's also because they were raised to be morons.
That's a whole different issue.
That's a whole different thing.
That's a different podcast that we could get into.
Yeah, about the raising children.
No.
Yeah. More broad.
Plot, explanation would be better.
Yeah, they go to a village. The village are devoted to crows.
It's just full of old people.
Full of old people.
And they have a very... everything is just mob mentality.
Yes. Yeah, lots of rules.
All these really weird rules, and everyone has to follow them, or you die.
Yep.
Yeah.
You get killed.
You have to stake. That's how you die.
Yeah, that's how you die. You get burned at the stake.
So that's what they're going into.
They become friends with the town handyman Hector, who's basically afraid of everybody in the town, which valid.
Rightfully so. Yeah.
Yeah. But he's been trying to do stuff to get out of it, but he's doing stuff that breaks the rules, like building things
and having a library,
which they love.
Yeah. It's like you fucking go Hector, do it.
So now we're like, yes, Hector. But wait, no, Hector, you're gonna die now.
Hector, no.
He didn't die yet.
No,
there's this big old tree.
You're just like afraid because you're like, no, it's a good adult. No, they're so precious.
They're like so few and far between. There's this big old tree that's called the Nevermore tree. Do you get it? Do you get it? Do you get it? There's this big old tree, and every day the kids come through and they find a little like slip of paper with a couplet on it.
Isadora?
Oh, snap. And so they're like, okay, so she's here somewhere, but how is it getting here?
I totally found it out before they said anything.
High five, kill it. Hell yeah.
I mean,
so
I wish they would have figured it out faster.
I know.
Yeah,
I was like, second, like they got it, and I was like, all right, they're in the fountain.
Yeah.
Morning, birds go there. Beak. Come on now.
Get it together, guys.
Here we go. Come on.
Together. But they're basically trying to figure out where the triplets are, also while doing all the chores for this village, because they've decided now that they have orphans, they're going to just make them do all the chores. And then also, Count Olaf shows up. Well, actually, he doesn't show up until a little bit later.
Well, they think he shows up.
Yeah, they think
got
he
news
shows up
one day that Count Olaf had been captured.
Yeah.
So they got really excited.
And they were like, oh shit, hell yeah. And then they find out it's not Olaf.
It's a man named Jacques.
Jacques Snicket.
Snicket? That's
Snicket.
When that happened, when I was younger, I was like, what? Lemony Snicket.
What do you mean?
Snicket is actually, like, everything's coming together. What is happening?
Because, like, at this stage, as a kid, you're just like, Lemony Snicket is just a dude who wrote a book.
Yeah, he's just the narrator. You don't think he's, like, a character in the story.
Yeah. And then you're like, Jacques Snicket, and you're like, wait, is he related to Lemony? And, like, how? It's the other part. Like, is he a dad, a brother, cousin? What is he?
What is the timeline? What is happening right here? You just you gotta like do the whole red string thing and just like
yeah. But so they say they caught Count Olaf, but it's not Olaf, it's Jacques. The reason why they think it's Olaf is because he has a unibrow and he has a eye on his ankle. Because those are Count Olaf's features. Only Count Olaf's features.
Yeah, the only thing.
And they were gonna burn him at the stake, but like the Baudelaire's like, well, you can't because it's not him. So they're like trying to figure out how to save him. Also help Hector with his hot air balloon device that he's trying to build to get out of this village, and also find the triplets.
They're just so busy in this book. It's great.
Yeah, they're so
very
much
proactive.
They were too late for Jacques.
And like Count Olaf shows up as a police officer.
Nope.
Oh no, Jacques dies first. He's murdered. Murdered in the night.
Yeah, he was murdered in his locked cell. That only police officer lady, I forgot her fucking name, but it's
Esme. I can't remember what her name was, but yeah, it's basically
fake name.
Fake name.
I forgot her name.
Wait, hold on. Officer Luciana.
Luciana, yes.
But yeah, she's the only one who has the key, and he was murdered. But now there's an investigation, and so Olaf shows up as Detective Dupin. I love it so much. I think this is the book that, like, this is the series that made my love of, like, wordplay and, like, language as a whole.
Just all the sarcasm everywhere.
Yeah, it's like, these books raised me and made my sense of humor what it is. So he basically comes and he's going to figure out who murdered Count Olaf.
But then they're like, you're Olaf.
You're Olaf.
It's
like, how are you kids?
They're like, you must be confused.
Olaf is dead.
Oh, okay. Look at him. Dead. He finds Violet's ribbon at the crime scene.
Which isn't her ribbon.
And a lens from Klaus's glasses.
Which he's not missing.
And Sonny's teeth marks on the body. Which it was a locked cell, so how? The people ignore the fact that the orphans have solid alibis and whatever, so...
Mob mentality.
Yeah, I was like, they say that.
Yeah. But they were doing these things. While locked up, Klaus has his 13th birthday. So
which is super sad that he spent that in jail because, you know.
And he almost forgot.
Everyone forgot.
He was like, oh, what's the date?
What's today's date?
It's my birthday.
Shit, it's birthday.
They're like,
remember
you forget
when
that.
Mom and Dad said that my birthday would be great this year? They're dead now.
This is like, you forget that there's like a passing of time that happens. Right. Like, you're like, oh yeah, this is like happening over spans of like weeks and months, and it's not just like one day. It's just like really long.
Because everything that happens like so fast. It's like every book is only like a couple of days.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Insane. So they get water and food or something.
Yeah, they get water and bread.
And then Violet uses the water to basically weaken the rock of the cell so that they could jam the bench. Yeah, I mean, yeah, whatever. And then they basically do this all day, and then at daybreak Hector comes to the window because there's a window in their cell, and he gives them their couplet. And then they're running out of time, so they they get out of the cell because they get out of the cell, and then they combine all the couplets together, and like the first initial of each line says fountain, because that's where they're at.
They've been in the fountain this entire time.
They've been in this
drowning.
Just
like, just imagine, because it's been like what, 3-4 days.
Yeah,
they're just like in the fountain.
Yeah.
Starving, drowning.
Yeah.
Yep.
And so they
fine.
They go to the fountain. Sunny finds a button. She presses the button, and it opens. And the Quagmires.
Oh, look. Let's run away. Hurry, go.
Just really wet. They're really damp.
But they're fine.
They flee.
And somehow they can write couplets and like.
Where'd they get the pen?
I think he just had it. I think it was like a part of his like Duncan's journal thing, and then
Well, the pens in the VFD can only be made out of crow feathers, so he's breaking rule.
Unacceptable.
So that's why they have to.
That's why. So the mob comes because of the pen thing, and
they want to burn it, not because of the murder, but the pen.
Yeah, the pen. So they're gonna burn them at the stake.
They run away.
The Quagmires explain the cantaloupe locked them in whatever. They run away. Hector's hot air balloon appears, and they're like, "Oh shit, guys, get up there!" And he drops the rope ladder. The triplets climb up first, and then like they're all like trying to get up, and then the mob shows up, and they're like, no. And then
Luciana just pulls out
Esme pulls out a hoop gun.
Yeah, seriously.
And
she's like, "Don't worry, guys."
She hits a couple of the
I'm a
balloons,
officer.
But then the village is like, no, those sort of weapons are not allowed, ma'am.
So now we gotta get her.
Any machine is not allowed. Right. No mechanical devices are allowed.
She was like, "I'm a police officer, fine." But then she hit a crow.
Yeah.
So everyone freaked out.
And then everyone fucking freaked out.
And then they left.
So the triplets and Hector had to leave because they were gonna lose altitude if they kept. So then the orphans are just
running.
They basically just run.
And that's how it kind of ends.
Yeah, as the crowd goes to the crow, one counts of other members tells them to put as blah blah. The Baudelaires flee rather than waiting for the police, and the Daily Punctilio wrote an article reporting that they killed Count Olaf. So by the end of this, they're fleeing.
Fugitives.
They're considered fugitives. So they're no longer
armed and dangerous.
Yeah, armed and dangerous. Sunny has teeth.
Yes,
that's pretty dangerous.
Hell yeah. So yeah, they're now officially this is definitely the most interesting book that you get, because every single book before that is very similar in like how everything goes, and then this book changes it completely. So much shit happens in this book. like there's like framed for murder. Like there's like hope that Count Olaf actually dead, and then it's not.
Yeah, it's a roller coaster.
Yeah.
Don't know how to feel.
Yeah, obviously.
There's 13 books.
Then there's like finding the triplets, and then getting out of the village, and then
they become separated again from the triplets.
Yeah.
Like, why can't they just have friends?
Because they have a serious
because they're orphans.
Orphans
have friends.
Orphans can't
not
have
even
friends.
with other orphans.
But yeah, that book changes the entire like style of the rest of the series. So like it's now them like just going anywhere to find safety, or to basically find information about their parents, the VFD, Jacques, I guess, in this instance.
They become young sleuths.
Yeah, basically. Like, I think what would be...
I don't like that word, Brittany.
Oh, I know.
I think when you learn about Jacques and you learn that he has also like the VFD tattoo on his ankle, you're like, okay, so this is more than just Olaf.
Yeah, there's more than one Snicket.
Little did they know.
All the random mentions of Beatrice mean something. Like, you just start looking at all the pieces. And then, like, I think this is when I went back to the beginning and I started reading all of the weird, like, back of the book things and just being like...
like, you're finding all that information.
Like, the to the editor notes and...
just
being like...
There's actual, like, clues and shit in those notes. It's, like, it's insane.
But you get no answers.
You get no answers.
You're just like, information, no answers.
No answers. You'll never get them. In The Hostile Hospital is the next book. The Orphans, God, I'm just gonna be fucking up all day. They run from the village and they find a hospital. They're picked up by volunteers.
They join this group that their name is...
They're picked up by volunteers fighting disease.
Yeah, so it's VFD, so they're like, well, maybe we should go with them because it might lead to a clue. They go to this hospital. They're like, these aren't our people, so maybe let's research here because they have, like, records and stuff here. They
go to Heimlich Hospital.
Haha.
Named after...
Heimlich Maneuver.
The Heimlich Maneuver. Gute. They believe no news is good news at Heimlich Hospital.
That's like the worst thing.
And therefore have never read the Daily Punctilio and don't recognize Baudelaire. So perfect. Whatever. That's fine.
Yeah.
Whatever.
So, what's the biggest thing here?
The biggest thing is they meet Hal, who runs the record room, and then they find like something that refers to VFD and Jacques. But I'm trying to remember what that was specifically.
It was something to do with the fire.
Yeah.
What was it? I keep thinking of the show, but it's not.
Yeah,
they changed it.
They're trying to find more information about VFD, and they're like try the library of records. That would probably work. They tell the children, but they don't know him, and add they don't know each other's real names, but only call each other brother and sister, because that doesn't feel like a cult at all.
No.
Cousin Sunny with Violet. About Snicket fires. They reach Heimlich Hospital.
Yeah, the Snicket.
He explains to them that they look familiar. He then says that he remembers them in a file about Snicket fires. That's what starts it. Hal recognized them not from the Daily Punctilio, but from files. Yeah.
So they're like, information. Yeah. That's all we've ever wanted.
Yeah. So they're like, well, we're gonna fucking file, because like he's like, no, you can't look at my files. You just help me file the files.
We don't can't open it.
Yeah. No.
Even though
but they're like, okay, well, we're gonna.
No way that I would know if you did. You still can't.
At night, they secretly sleep, and in the unfinished half of the hospital where it's cold and damp, as they cannot be found. Reviewing the few pages of the commonplace book they received from Duncan and Isidore Quagmire, they discover the existence of the Snicket file. They play a trick on Hal to try to get it, but only succeed in retrieving the 13th page, which reads, due to evidence discussed on page 9, experts now suspect that there may in fact be one survivor of the fire, but the survivor's whereabouts are unknown.
Dun dun dun!
So then they're like, what does that mean? Which fire? What? Who? What
the fuck? Page 9! It also says the rest was taken by the authorities. Esme Squalor picks the lock on the door. Oh yeah, they're here. They're just all around each other.
Olaf and everyone's here.
Yeah, they're all in the place together. They all
ended up at the hospital for the same thing.
Yeah.
The file.
The file, yeah.
The file that has
one page.
This is bullshit.
This is fucking bullshit. They try, like, Esme starts chasing them because Klaus and Sunny are able to escape, but Violet is too big to escape, so she gets taken.
They try to go through a trash chute? Or
Yeah, some sort of chute of some kind.
Violet's too tall or something?
Yeah, she's just like a little too big. They hide and whatever.
So then they like take Violet hostage and they're like, we're gonna take her head off.
Yeah, we're gonna perform a craniectomy, which is a great procedure where they remove the head.
It's medically
sound. It's murder.
It's
a medical procedure. where someone just the outcome is death, but it's not intentional. It's a surgery.
I just like that, like, because there's like things where it's like there's like been experimental like things where it's like we're gonna remove the head and try to replace it with a new head or whatever.
No, this is just removal.
This is just literally just remove the head.
And done. Good job.
That's it. That's the surgery. All right.
Don't preserve it.
Bill of health.
Everything is fine. They hide in a supply closet and they find out where Violet is using anagrams because one of the rooms is labeled Laura V. Blitiote, which is an anagram for Violet Baudelaire. They disguise themselves as two very short doctors with robes. I like how they disguise themselves in the show. Because Sunny basically just holds on to Klaus's things. He puts on a lab coat and then uses a beard to cover the rest of it. It's pretty great. It's really good.
Yes, I'm the doctor.
I'm the doctor.
What have you?
They disguise themselves, blah, blah. On their way, they come across Esme, who's carrying a long, sharpened knife that Cannella threatened them with in the reptile room. So it's a callback.
Ha! This all takes place in the same continuous universe.
She believes that they are the two white-faced women. So she leads them to the Hook Candy Man and the Bald Man, who lead them to Violet. They take Violet to the operating theater and begin the operation.
Yay.
So this is definitely different from the show, because in the show, they're like one person, and they have like a standoff with Olaf, and it's great.
Is hilarious. Like, you could just tell on their faces they're both trying not to laugh.
Yeah.
Stay in character. Stay in character.
It's so good. It's really brilliant. So this one makes kind of more sense. Like, she believes that they're...
But I guess it makes sense for her character, but it's also like, are you that dumb?
Yeah, are you that stupid?
Hey, they can make some pretty good disguises.
Their disguises are pretty good.
They may be children.
Pretty fucking good.
They haven't been part of an acting troupe.
But they've been around so many members of an acting troupe.
Oh, God.
Wow.
Why?
That was unnecessary.
That was unnecessary.
Do you want to contribute? Okay.
Cool. So they get to the operating room. They're able to stall briefly, which is also another... This entire episode for the TV show is really just Klaus's shining moment as a human. Because he's just, like, has to act, but he's not good at acting or lying or anything. He can only use information that he has. So he's like, oh, knives are things that do things. And he's just, like, it's just really great. He stalls for a little bit. Hal walks in accusing them of setting fire to the hospital because of what they did to his file room, which is very fast.
Tisk.
Yes.
And the end.
Yeah, and they walk around, she exposes them. They are rounded up and Violet wakes up. Esme has set fire to the library and the fire is spreading. Also, this entire episode is scary because that part with Esme and Violet in the file room where they're like running. Oh my God, that was so scary.
I was like, I don't remember what happens. What's gonna happen?
Yeah. The person of indeterminate gender tries to catch them as they run through the hospital with Violet still laying on a gurney, so they're like running through with Violet still strapped. They hide in another closet. They then divert a crowd of escapees outside the unfinished half of the hospital by acting like the intercom system and telling them that the Baudelaires have been spotted there. They must hurry, for one person of indeterminate gender is outside in the hallway trying to bust down the door to the closet. They use tied rubber bands and bungee jump off the building. So they used a bunch of rubber bands.
They're just ingenious.
Yeah. They hear Cal yelling to his associates to put the disguises in the trunk and get in his long black car. So they're like, okay, well, we're going to get in the trunk. So they get in the trunk.
We need a way out of here, too.
Yeah.
So we're just going to go
we're just gonna
our worst enemy.
Yeah.
Because why not?
I think it's one of those situations where, like, they literally didn't really have a choice.
Right.
But also, like, for them, it's like, if they're going to want to get any more information, they have to go kind of where he's going. So, even though it's like...
Count Olaf is the only clue now because the library's gone.
Yeah.
The library!
Oh no! Like, I think, like, the decision to go into his trunk is stupid, but for what they're trying to do now, like, with how this turn of events has gone...
Right.
Like, now they're
actually, like, seeking the information
they're trying to find it. So, like,
running away from Count Olaf.
It makes complete sense for them to go where he's going.
Which is nice character development, too.
Yeah. It's like such a change, such a drastic change. Then we're at our final book of the evening, The Carnivorous Carnival, which I think is pretty fucking dark.
Dude,
in my
It has a lot of, like, weird messaging.
Yeah. They get to, so they're driving, the kids are in the trunk, then they stop and they're at a thing and they're talking,
Thing? What thing?
Yeah, a carnival.
Where are we?
And they don't know, they're in the trunk. They hear the troop, they're talking, they're not stopped, they're in the car, but they're talking about Madame Lulu has told Connell of where the Baudelaires are hidden each time they move. She's a psychic.
Ooh.
So that's how he's able to show up, is she's just telling them where they are.
She's not really a psychic.
Yeah, she's not really a psychic.
But then how did she know where they were?
I imagine she just read the news.
I don't think it would be that difficult. Like,
Yeah.
they explain it way better in the show, like how everything's connected.
Guys, we're reading the books.
I know.
Podcast.
But if we're supposed to believe what's going on in the show is happening in the background of the books, then there is a way that she knows.
Yeah. Either way, imagine it's probably the Daily Punctilio.
Yeah.
Probably.
Goddamn.
Because the worst newspaper ever.
Yeah, obviously. But they go, because they don't know where the orphans are now, they go there again. So they go to the carnival, they like are talking to people, and they have to basically get out of the trunk.
Yeah.
As Carney!
So they dress up as Carney. So Violet and Klaus get
two-headed person.
Yeah, they become a two-headed person named, what is it, like Elliot and Beverly.
Beverly and Elliot.
And then Sunny rolls around in some dirt and she becomes Chabo the wolf baby.
I mean, she's got the teeth for it.
Yeah,
so why
she
not?
does.
Chabo.
So they pretend to be a bunch of freaks so that they can find out more information about...
Guys, we forgot one of the, like, most important things. Sunny can walk now.
Oh yeah, Sunny's able to walk now.
Totally forgot.
Yeah.
Time has passed.
Yes. She's growing up so quickly.
They also recognize as they used by Olaf when he was disguised as Gunther. They're basically picking up that Madame Lulu is a fraud. Whatever. Wow, not surprising.
Most psychics are.
Blah, blah,
General
So yeah,
opinion.
they go to Lulu's tent to search for clues.
Yeah.
And they find all this weird VFD stuff.
Yeah, weird VFD stuff. Lots of VFD stuff.
Lots of VFD things.
Do.
So they're like, what is going on?
I love the other freaks at that.
Oh my gosh.
Hugo is a hunchback. Okay, so valid.
Freak.
Colette is a contortionist. Freak.
God, worse.
Kevin is ambidextrous. Fucking freak.
God.
Two-handed freak.
I just can't even exist in this world.
They should be kept in those little troops and then burned.
Oh my god. I'm ambidextrous.
They're monsters.
I can do things equally as well with both my hands. And he's also very pessimistic.
Monsters.
So it's not.
So I'm not ambidextrous. I could try, but it doesn't go very well. The next morning they discover, when Olaf asks Madame, is one Baudelaire parent still alive? She consulted the crystal ball and answered, yes, one is up in the Mortmain Mountains.
So then they're like,
what?
What? What?
Time to take a hike.
Which begs the question, like, if one of them is alive, why are they letting all these bad things happen to us?
Exactly. Yeah.
Mom, Dad, whoever you are.
Assholes.
Which one of you is alive? Because I want to fucking kill you right now.
I got a bone to pick
face.
with one of you. Preferably dead.
Preferably dead. The children performed an humiliating freak show. They encouraged the other freaks to not just settle for being sideshow freaks and instead embrace their potentials to lead a better life.
Yay, positivity.
Woo. Afterwards, Olaf arrived with a pack of lions as a gift to Madame Lulu and announced that a lion pit will be dug so that one of the freaks will be thrown in the next day so they can drag a large audience.
Woo!
Money. Consumerism.
So everyone turns out.
That's when I was like, this is taking a turn.
Right.
Someone's about to die very violently.
It's like, well, yeah, because there's like a lot of death in like
But it's
all these
not
books.
like...
But it's
Is
never
any
very
of it on screen?
Well, okay, so like in the lumber mill thing, there was a part where they were like explaining. Oh, it was when a dude was tied to it like a log, and
Yeah.
and Klaus was the one who's gonna press the button. Like I was like on edge.
Yeah.
And I was like, this is not a children's book. Like there's gonna be some graphic shit now. And then again, like when they were talking about Olaf was like, oh, by the way, 2 of you are gonna die, so choose which one lives. Like, I'm like, holy shit, like they're gonna burn them at the stake. Like, like there's certain things and like
there's certain very dark things.
And I'm just like,
children's book.
And now someone's gonna get eaten by a lion.
Yeah, and someone's gonna get eaten by lions in this one. Yeah. They're searching Lulu's tent, discover VFD all around the place. They find like hidden contraptions under her table, which is how the crystal ball works. They accidentally break Lulu's crystal ball and try to lift the tablecloth higher to get a better glimpse of the archival library, and they're discovered when Lulu comes in. Lulu breaks down and throws off her disguise, revealing herself as a woman named Olivia, who just wants to give people what they want. She's a member of VFD and tells them about the VFD disguise kit and a schism which happened in the organization.
More clues, but no answers.
More information. So, like, VFD is an organization that a bunch of people, and there's a schism that happens, and, like, to give, like, a bit of it, the schism basically breaks the VFD into 2 separate organizations.
But they're still all VFD.
Yeah, they're still all VFD.
Because we have to confuse everyone.
Yeah. One is considered good, and one is considered bad.
I wonder which one Olaf's a part.
Duh, he's the good guy.
Obviously.
Come on.
He just wants to be an actor, and he's trying out a different role.
Yeah.
Yeah.
This is all part of some sort of class that he's taking.
Olivia discovers that the children are the Baudelaires, and then Klaus is like, slips like, what was the thing about the Baudelaire parents? And then
she's like, I lied.
They admit to their identity and plan to travel with Olivia to the Mortmain Mountains to determine if one of their parents are alive. Though Olivia did say to Count Olaf that one of the Baudelaire's parents is alive, she's not actually sure and only suggested the Mortmain Mountains as their possible location, as it is one of the few remaining VFD headquarters. Violet plans to invent a vehicle made from cars from nearby roller coaster and the fan belt from the lighting effect.
Yes, we're going to escape. We're going to go to the mountains. I'm so excited.
Yeah, we're going to discover, because, like, even if, like, they don't discover, like, a parent, they're going to a VFD headquarters.
Yeah,
so
we're going to find out something.
Yeah, exactly.
Either way.
Esme Squalor, who is jealous of Count Olaf and Madame Lulu's relationship.
Jerome just, like, disappeared.
Yeah, he's just gone.
Esme's like, yeah, I'm with Olaf now.
Well, I don't think she ever really... Man. My opinion of Esme and Jerome's relationship is that Esme didn't... I think marriage...
They were married.
I think marriage was in at one point, and she needed to get married.
Oh, Jesus. Poor Jerome. Yeah, she calls him an idiot, too. She's like, my idiot husband.
My idiot husband.
I'm just like, girl, give him a break. He's a nice guy. He's nice.
I remember this part. Madame Lulu comes, Esme comes to the caravan of freaks in an outfit that says, I love freaks! It also has a sack on the shoulder to mimic Hugo's hunchback and a hat with something sticking out of it to imitate Beverly and Elliot's 2 heads. She tries to convince them that whoever is picked to be thrown into the pit of ravenous lions the next day should throw Madame Lulu in instead. If they do that, they will be made part of Count Olaf's theater troupe and have an exciting career as a criminal. She also bribes them by giving them gifts that disguise their deformities. Esme gives Hugo the large coat the Hook-Handed Man wore when he was a doorman.
Bad message.
Yeah, she gives Colette a large robe that will allow her to contort her body into any shape she wanted without people being aware.
It's like, well, first of all, these freaks are normal people.
Yeah.
She gives fine.
Yeah. She gives Kevin a rope that will allow him to tie one hand behind his back so that he can have a dominant hand like regular people. Or you could just use just one hand.
Right.
They don't.
Left-handed.
I don't. What is happening?
Esme gives Beverly and Elliot a sack that will allow them to hide one of their heads. She gives, because, that's
their solution.
I mean, it'll work if you believe.
And then she gives Chabo the wolf face
one of the fairies. Oh god.
Oh god. Hugo, Colette, and Kevin are completely fooled by Esme, feeling happy that for once a normal person likes them and gives them an opportunity to do something other than be in a freak show. So they agree to do exactly what she suggested. The Baudelaires, however, are not fooled by Esme and decline the offer, much to Esme's chagrin. Yeah, fuck you,
How
Esme.
dare they disobey me?
The next morning, the orphans go and get the coaster carts ready. A noisy, large, and rude audience shows up to see the lions devour. Also, in the show, Neil Patrick Harris's husband and his kids are in the audience for the carnival.
I love his babies. They're so cute. I love you, NPH.
Are you watching?
Shout out.
I love your family. You're just so happy.
They're so cute. What are you going to dress up for Halloween this year?
So excited.
I'm so excited to see the pictures and
all right, podcast.
Podcast. But among the audience is the female reporter. Yeah, he's watching. Who broke the story that the Baudelaires murdered Count Olaf. Olaf dramatically unfolds a paper that will show who will be devoured by lions, and Beverly and Elliot are picked. Oh, surprise. They manage to stall and eventually create a chaotic scene in which Madame Lulu and the bald man with the long nose fall into a pit and get devoured. The Baudelaires are deeply depressed after not keeping their sides of the promise of Madame Lulu. After escaping to Madame Lulu's tent, the orphans find a map of the mountains with a coffee stain on it. Olaf appears, apparently still not recognizing the Baudelaires. The disguise and states that the stain indicates VFD's secret base in the Mortmain Mountains. The orphans are recruited into Olaf's troop as are the other freaks. The carnival is burned to destroy the evidence, and the lions trapped in the pit are unable to escape, are burned to death. Their blackened bodies are later found by Lemony Snicket.
So sad.
Together, Olaf, his employees, and the children depart from the mountains. Beverly and Elliot are in the travel trailer caravan behind Olaf's car, while Chabo is in the automobile car. Olaf then reveals that Lulu told him that they are the Baudelaires, and the newly recruited freaks cut the caravan off the car on a steep slope.
A traitor.
Yeah.
Lulu. Olivia. Lulu.
Yeah.
Olivia? Lulu.
Olivia is her real name. Madame Lulu is her fake name.
So yeah, that's where we end.
Yeah, that's how it ends.
Cliffhanger, literally.
Yeah.
Almost.
Which, again, like, I think, like, the Carnivorous Carnival is, like, the darkest one, because, like, one, it ends on, an actual legitimate cliffhanger.
Which is kind of cool.
But, yeah, with them careening off a cliff, basically.
Yeah, and they're separated.
Yeah. They're for the first time ever, they're separated from each other in between books, basically.
Which is great.
Yeah. And there's so much, like, morbid shit. Like, more morbid than normal.
Like, lions died?
Yeah, the lions died. 2 people died. It was burned to the ground. Yeah, like, lots of treachery occurs. Freaks are there.
That's dark?
That's dark. It's pretty dark.
Freak?
Yeah, freaks are there. But yeah, I think
lots
this,
of
like,
psychological weirdness happens.
Yeah, a lot of, like weird shit goes on. And, like, a lot of, like, back and forth of, like, who is, like, working for who, and, like, help, and who's gonna help, and what is help, and
there's no loyalty.
Yeah,
the only loyal people are the Baudelaires to the Baudelaires, whatever their names are.
Yep.
I think
orphans gotta stick with orphans, and that's it.
Brittany, I just need you to make a clip of this entire podcast of every time Julia said their names.
That'll be the next promo.
Because it's great.
Fuck off.
I like, it's not like
I like literally, like, when I read people's names in books, half the time I just make that shit up. I'm like, oh, it starts with an E. Your name's Edgar.
Like,
your name is E.
Your name is Egad. That's your name now.
I'm really bad with names.
I just really like it. It's just really funny.
It's okay.
Baudelaire.
It's okay. I said
down.
Hermione wrong in my head for so long.
Yeah, I mean, everyone did.
I used to say Crutcher.
Crutcher.
Oh, for creature.
Crutcher for creature. Are you okay?
Yeah.
Okay.
Something in it.
God. Yeah, Carnivorous Carnival, I think, is the darkest of the
series of unfortunate events are spilling into our real lives.
Oh my god, my eye.
Oh no.
Everything's just going wrong.
Are you gonna be okay? Can you stop dropping your glasses, please?
Yes.
No.
Thank you.
It's never gonna stop.
No, never stop dropping your glasses.
Gravity is her Count Olaf.
Clearly. It's okay.
I'm crying.
Are you? Is there something in your eye?
I don't know. I think it's my makeup. My makeup's in my eye.
Probably. We do put a lot of makeup around our eyes, considering how sensitive the eye actually is to getting stuff inside.
Oh yeah, there's like layers on
just
here.
like fucking layers.
So
anyway,
what do you think because each of these books, especially this set that we just read, they're talking about very specific things, like phenomena in society right now.
Yeah.
So what do you think how the mystery fits into that theme of, like, exploiting something about society?
Oh,
getting deep, girl.
Getting real fucking deep.
Well, because it's like if all these, the reason that people don't like these as children's books is because they're like, well, you're portraying adults as like stupid or the whole mom mentality thing, but it's like these things actually happen. Like it's slightly exaggerated, but not really. Like especially nowadays. So it's like with that's like the theme throughout each thing. It's like even like every single book is talking about one of those facets of society. So it's like, given that that's like the theme, what are we supposed to take from like VFD, the mystery, in relation to that theme? Because all of VFD is about like disguises, and it's all adults, and it's like
anagrams
and weird stuff like that seems like, because we don't really have any answers, it seems like it's not really, it doesn't really mean anything.
Yeah, because like also like the jobs are really weird. Like, I won't say names, but someone in VFD, their entire job was to train bats.
Yep. Why not?
What are they training the bats with?
I believe it was something really stupid, but nothing important. But yeah, it like
society of people who are sneaky.
It's just very sneaky. I don't know. Because what's unfortunate right now is I don't want to say too much about what we learn later, since she hasn't read the final 4 yet.
Yeah, guys.
Well, I haven't read the last
fucking
one,
spoilers.
Oh yeah, Brittany hasn't read the end either. She hasn't read the.
You never read the last one? Cool.
No.
I'm the only one who's read the entire series. So like there's like stuff that you'll learn in like the next 4 about certain people and what they do and everything. But like what's weird about these books is like the VFD is like this overarching like mystery that we're trying to figure out.
Right.
Like it becomes like the most important thing that we're trying, like who are they? And then you kind of find out what they are, and it still doesn't make any sense. Like if that, because then you also, because like there's
mysteries are meant to be kept mystery. Maybe that's the point.
Sure, there's also a set of prequel books. They're like.
Have you read those?
I haven't read those.
I read the first one. I was.
I want to read it. That's like my next like goal is to read those, because I have like the
first one was just like, because it's about Lemony, so I'm just like, this is too meta. It's too much. It's too much happening in my brain. There's
the unauthorized biography, which I have, which is disguised to look like the luckiest children in the world. It's great. It's like the coolest thing ever. And then I also have the Beatrice letters, which is like both of those things give more information about who VFD are and what is in them. And you learn about how they recruit people into VFD, which is you just take kids by the ankle and you just leave with them.
You are now in VFD.
Yeah.
Stamp.
Yay.
That's how you get recruited into the VFD. Just ridiculous.
It's pretty fucked up.
But like, I feel like if you look back, like reading these stories now, like the VFD has nothing to do with the Baudelaires. The Baudelaires just fell into the mystery of it all because their parents were a part of it, and you don't ever learn anything about like what their parents really did in the VFD at all.
Well, that's not really important, is it?
It's not, but
that's why I don't know what the point is.
Yeah.
The point is they want to find out what happened to their
I think
parents,
there's like
they just want to know where Count Olaf becomes so evil. Like I don't even remember where.
Yeah.
Aren't they just trying to figure it out so they know how to stop him better?
I think maybe like it's like it started off like they learned about the VFD. Because, from Duncan, who's screaming VFD. So it's like, okay, something is important there. But they don't know specifically what about the VFD is important to know.
Yeah, they don't know anything.
Yeah. So they're just, like, going after anything related to VFD, trying to find any information. So I don't even think they know specifically what the answer they're looking for that the VFD is going to provide. So I think we don't know. We just want answers. Like, we just want to know, like, I think the main answer that we could get out of figuring out who the VFD are is like figuring out why their house burnt down and why their parents died.
It was Olaf.
Yeah, basically. But it's like, if we're gonna, it's basically...
He wants money.
It's usually the most obvious answer.
Yeah, yeah.
Money and the sapphires.
It's more than that.
I know. Well, I mean, I figured.
It's that there's like one key feature that's there that is why Olaf targeted the way he targeted whatever. Because also he wasn't initially after the Quagmires. The Quigleys.
Quigley died.
The Quagmires. Sapphires.
Quagmire, like, come on.
I know, like Isadora, Duncan, Quigley. But he never. I don't think he intentionally wanted to go after the sapphires, but they fell into his lap, basically.
Right.
So he's like, okay, well, I guess I'll have
two fortunes.
Yeah. So his initial intention is always to go after the Baudelaires, and there's a reason behind that. But
yeah, because it's like you could argue it's like why is he still going after them when he has the other one? Yeah. Obviously, there's more going on.
Yeah, there's more going on. Way more. Always.
But
more.
yeah, I was wondering if it's like, since you don't really get like a complete answer at the end, if it's like a metaphor for like anything that you're going after in life.
I mean,
like,
yeah. So
any question you have, where it's like,
even
adults,
if you
you look at, like, when you're a kid, you look at adults for like, what do I do to like figure this out? And it's like, none of these adults know what they're doing. They're just making it up as they go along, and they have all their different beliefs.
Real life.
Which, now that I have become an adult, pretty accurate.
I don't even consider when I think about adults, I still think of people older than me.
I think of my parents and that age.
Yeah, like, I'm not like, oh yeah, my peers were adults, because I'm not a fucking adult. I still look for other people.
Like, I pay for an apartment and a car, and I have a job, and I do all this stuff, and I'm just like, I
did not get that stamp of
barely.
approval. Like, it's not happening.
Like, when do you, like...
Maybe like 30.
Yeah, 30.
I'm hoping it's 30.
Hoping?
Holding out that hope.
But that's when I'll feel like I have my life together.
Yeah, maybe. Got 4 years to go. 3.5. Still holding out that hope.
Still holding on.
You let me know how it goes.
But I think that is very accurate. Is like, the VFD became this has become this like mystery that they're trying to come through. But again, like I said, they don't even know specifically what the VFD is going to answer. Mm-hmm. They just heard Duncan yell it out of their car as they were being driven away. So, like, obviously Duncan knows something, but he wasn't able to tell them what he knows and what that's going to lead the Baudelaires to. Mm-hmm. All the Baudelaires know is like, well, Duncan said VFD, let's go after the VFD. And you never fully get all of the answers. Even with all of the extra shit that we have, like the extra books and everything, you still don't get all of the answers.
Maybe that's the point.
But yeah, it feels like that is absolutely the point. Is like, sometimes there is no explanation for everything, and even if you do find it, it's not going to answer all the question that you have.
Right. Just because you find the answer doesn't mean it's the solution.
Yeah, exactly.
Essentially.
Yeah, that's not the point.
Yeah, right. Yeah. I think the like actual plot and like the point of this story is the Baudelaire's attempt at like becoming closer to each other and like I guess like mourning the loss of their parents, and in an awful sort of way. They mourn their parents and they don't really get a time to mourn their parents and the loss and like really recover from it.
Right.
But it's like it's their journey to like to become themselves, like into adulthood, basically. Like we're literally watching Sunny like grow from an actual fetus to like.
I don't know if that's accurate.
Basically a fetus, all right, guys.
I mean,
yeah.
That sounds insane.
But like that's like I think that's like a reason why it's so like a point to like mention that it's Klaus's birthday. Like, right. We're like they're growing up, they're aging, and like we're watching them through this journey, and they're like, and like I think like there's like a big theme of like death and like mourning for fallen like lost ones, basically. And as I don't think it would be, but a lot of these books seem like a very big like metaphor for like mourning and moving on from losing like someone you love.
It's a metaphor for suffering in general.
Yeah. Oh, for sure.
Because there's everything's going wrong.
Yeah.
Unfortunate.
It's like a series of unfortunate events or something.
Yeah.
Why
didn't he call it that?
It's weird. Yeah. Guys, come on. You had a perfect title.
Staring you right in the face.
Yeah. But yeah, it's like, I think it's like a big metaphor for like how people cope with like life after or something.
Because it's like that idea where you guys are like, well, when do you become an adult? That's kind of like a metaphor for like what they're like. Well, what's VFD? Like, what's going on? Like, you're going after this answer that you're never gonna get.
You're never gonna really get the answer.
You have to answer it for yourself.
Like, technically, you become an adult at 18.
I mean,
well,
legally
you become an adult at 18. Mentally,
that's
who knows?
Up to you.
I was like, that's different for everyone.
Exactly. So, like, we're looking for an answer for something that you'll never find the answer for.
Unless you, accept it and answer it yourself.
Yeah. Because people also define adulthood in different ways.
Right.
So, like, some people are like, when they become adults, that's when they, like, make a family and have children. That's how they equate their adulthoodness to.
But I know some parents
disagree.
are not, like,
no, for sure. There's, like, it's awful. But, like, there's still, like, this idea that, like, you have children and you're an adult. It's like, well, I don't have children and I don't want children, so how do I define when I become an adult?
Yeah, it's different for everyone, like you said.
Yeah, you have to find that definition for yourself. Like, my definition is when I can go a full year without having to ask my parents for help. Like, if I can get,
when I'm financially stable and don't actually live paycheck to paycheck.
Yeah,
literally.
If I can get a full year of that, then I'll made it. I'm an adult. I've done it.
Sweet.
I managed to do that. And
look
also,
over the horizons.
Please, God, if I ever manage to finally move out to the West Coast, that'll be considered my past
goal.
Adulthood. Yeah, definitive goal.
I think now that I say that, that's probably another big theme too. Is that with book 7, I think a big reason that it's such a good book is because they do decide to like quest and do all this stuff on their own. Hello. Hi. Because it's the idea of growing up means having a goal.
Yeah.
You know?
So I think it's like they go from being reactive to proactive.
Definitely.
Yeah. Because, like, as kids, you're very reactive to things, to life. And then as adults, you start to become more proactive. Like, you're going after stuff, like, you're active.
Dreams you'll never reach.
Yeah.
But the thing that they're showing with all the adults is that they're not really, the things that they're going after are so superficial.
Exactly. Yeah.
Like the whole in and out thing.
Yeah. That entire book is just superficial.
Book. Or the whole village, all of their really dumb rules just so they can judge people.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, so I think like all the adults in this book are very superficial, and their initial goals for like their adulthood were like, I need to do this so that I can become this or whatever.
Well, yeah, even just like in the first book, like we learn that Count Olaf is a horrible person and just wants their money, and it's like it's terrible. That's a terrible goal.
Poe's entire goal is to just make sure that their bank looks good.
Right.
Yeah, it's all about status and titles and stuff.
Yeah, exactly. And then
the grown-ups in here suck.
Yeah, the grown-ups really suck. They're really awful, except for Monty. R.I.P.
Yeah, Monty was...
Yeah, he had a interesting goal. It was
because he had like something that he was interested in, which was for snakes.
Which is why we liked him.
Yeah, because he reptile. Sorry, excuse me. More than just snakes, but like I think it was because like his entire goal was help, progress understanding, and like knowledge.
That's why we had to kill him.
Yeah, no progressive. Stop it.
So that's a bigger theme of society.
Yeah,
squashing
it's
knowledge.
Yeah, because like you see that in a lot of like everyone who like bashes like or like when they try to teach them things and like it's stuff that they know and is easy to know and most people
and the whole book is like teaching you things. It's like this is what this word means and this is what this phrase means.
Like
so like I think that's like a heavy theme in the series is like knowledge is what makes
knowledge is power.
Yeah, knowledge is power, and if you try to squash that knowledge and you try to like hold yourself back, you're going to become a horrible adult. So, like, gather all of the knowledge you can, because it'll like help you become this. It'll like
help you ease the suffering of life.
Yeah.
Both the kids are already like super smart.
Yeah, and then Sunny becomes later. You'll like see it, but she gets into cooking.
Oh.
Yeah. It's very cute.
Oh, very cute. Sunny.
Yeah.
Little
She's
baby
just a real,
Sunny.
just like a toddler, just cooking away, just giving me anxiety attacks.
Don't touch that stove.
Oh gosh.
Baby.
Knife.
She's just like.
Yeah.
Let's cut it with my teeth.
Cut all the carrots with my teeth.
But yeah, it's like it's like I think that's a very heavy theme. It's like the more knowledge you have, the better human you are.
Which is why I think when you're a kid, you like it so much, even if you can't verbalize that. That's what you feel.
Mm-hmm. It's like you're learning. You're not being talked down to the way that adults talk down to kids when they're like
all the adults do in this.
Yeah, all the adults in this do. It's like they're just.
Well, you're just dumb orphans. You don't know.
And like the way that Lemony Snicket defines words in the book as well is very fascinating and interesting because he describes like a situation.
It's not just like the definition. It's like in this circumstance, this is what this means.
Yeah. It's like he gives you like
teaches you how to use context clues.
Yeah, context clues, guys.
Ooh.
You
gotta learn your ACT skills.
This will help
you in your future.
Use these. Forget that giant SAT book that you got over there. Read these. Trust me.
Wink.
Wink. They'll help you. But yeah, that's I think why I love these books and I think why I am the way I am now, because like Ravenclaw through and through, knowledge is everything to me, and I want to know everything. Anytime anyone ever asks a question and I don't immediately have the answer for it, and she can attest to this, I will Google it immediately.
Oh yeah.
Because I want to know. And I need to know, and I have to know the answer, because it will bother me to the rest of the end of my life.
To the rest of the end.
To the rest of the end of my life.
Oh yeah.
And
I was doing that yesterday.
Yeah.
I was like, but what does this mean?
Exactly, and then I just go on this deep dive that's just like, well, what does this mean? Oh, what does this mean? And then I've spent 3 hours on Wikipedia just fucking reading
and
shit.
And the person is still there waiting for the answer to the original question.
It's like, sorry, my bad.
I told you I'd get back to you.
But yeah, I think part of that is like these books. It's like why I'm like that, because like they gave so much information, and there's not really many.
I read these when I was a kid.
Yeah, we were talking about this in books 1 through 4 is how this shaped who we are as like people now.
Like this and Harry Potter, and then like I guess those two mostly.
Yeah,
those were the big ones.
These are the big books in my adolescence, and
I did read Twilight when I was 12, but that didn't influence anything.
Yeah,
I was just like,
is that appropriate?
Twilight? Yeah.
What? No, it was 8th grade, so like 13, 14?
8th grade, 13, 14, yeah, roughly. 13. They don't have sex until Eclipse.
Yeah.
Where's that?
Or if it's the third book. Or no, they don't try to have sex until Eclipse, and then they have
and then they actually do it in the fourth one.
In Breaking Dawn.
My bad.
Yeah.
He breaks the thing, and it's all dramatic, and it's really
He broke
dumb.
the headboard, and I have bruises.
Yeah, I saw the movies.
It's so dumb. Anyway.
Yeah.
I was 14. For the record.
For the record.
For the record. Thank you.
But yeah, like these books, because we read them when we were much younger.
Yeah, I'm reading them now.
Yeah. So one of the things that we were fascinated by in books 1 through 4 was how these shaped us as people, because we read them when we were young, but how you didn't have that experience, and how you're, like, me and Brittany are similar in the way we think and act in certain things. And we're very similar in a different way. But how, like you can see the clear divide of like how we've been influenced by these books from a young age, and you haven't.
Throw them at people.
Yeah, like you read these. They're great, I promise.
I know it's spread the knowledge.
Orphans and how their parents were murdered and escaping a criminal like lunatic. But you really do need to read it. I swear.
Yeah, it's really good.
It's knowledge.
I also like these books because it kind of like helps you learn how to talk to people who are mourning like a loss, like because the way that the kids get talked to a lot is like really awful.
I hate that they're always referred to as orphans.
Oh my god.
I feel like that's so rude.
No, absolutely is.
They're just like, oh, shut up down there.
You're children. Orphans. You don't know what orphans are. It's like, fuck you.
Right.
Like, what the fuck?
The orphans are speaking. Like, we have names. We are people too.
Yeah.
Just because our parents died. If anything, like,
yeah,
you should try to make them feel more like people because they obviously like feel like shit. They don't have a family.
Yeah, it's like this total disconnection.
And none of their relatives want them, like because they're troublemakers now.
Yeah,
like
troublemakers.
I just, it's so sad.
It's really sad. But like, I think that's like because there's like a thing where it's like at some point like you need to have like there's like a mourning period and there's like a point where you need to go back to normalcy. But like there needs to be that mourning period where you just like
so that you're
cry and sad. The Baudelaires don't ever get that mourning period. Everyone else just starts treating them like normal. And as if they've been orphans their entire life. And they haven't just lost their parents.
I feel like they kind of had like a small moment when they were in jail. Like, and when like, they realized like it was Klaus's birthday and like they all just started crying together.
They have like pockets of like these mourning moments. But that's like what's sad is like when they have those pockets, you realize that they've literally been dealing with this shit since their parents died.
Right.
And now we're on book 7 and they're still not, like, fully even processing it.
Yeah, like, it's still something that hasn't set in. Like, they haven't processed any of it. And for young children, that's, like, very imperative. So it's just like, guys, we're just damaging them more. It's really bad. Yay, damage. Ooh. Like gonna be like years of trauma for you later in life. Sorry about that.
Especially for Sunny.
For Sunny,
like life, man.
Yeah. Because like
she had to be a secretary. Oh my god. Right. Worst job ever.
God, that's
traumatic.
At 2 years old, had to be his secretary. God, fuck. Yeah, it's like it's just really sad, but like it like teaches you a little bit of like how you kind of address people who are mourning, and it's like you want to give them.
You don't call them orphans,
but you don't sugarcoat like what happened to their family. Like you acknowledge that this is something horrible that happened to them, but like you still want to try to give them that normalcy and like that grounded in reality, because right now their reality is completely different. And they have
instead,
nothing.
Everyone around them has their own agendas.
Exactly, yeah.
Very selfish.
It's very, very selfish. Very selfish people. So it's very interesting, like all of the things that they address, because all the things they address are very like adult-oriented themes, but it's geared towards children.
But it's real. I think that's why people like it.
Yeah, I think that's why like it's like so.
It's written in such a silly way that it like. It like hits you better because it's not as realistic.
Yeah,
which is why I don't really like contemporary things. I like fantasy and sci-fi because it's like it feels more real, even though it's hyperbolic.
If you really think about it. yeah. Like it's like a soft hit instead of like this like hard hit, and you don't get the hard hit until you think about the book retroactively.
Right.
So like when we're discussing it, you're like, oh no, this is really sad. This is like really sad. But when you're reading it, you're like, this is really funny. Like why do they not
adventure?
It's
a mystery.
Great. And like there's like pockets of those moments, like when they're in the jail cell and they're crying, like you're like, oh, this is sad.
Right.
But then it's immediately greeted with like.
But then it's like only a page long, so.
Yeah.
It's not like forever.
And then it just moves on to the next thing. So it's like it's very like a soft hit as opposed to just a hard
a whole book about children mourning.
Yeah.
A whole 13-book series about children mourning. And that's it.
Yeah.
No mystery.
No mystery.
That would be depressing.
That would be very depressing. I think the VFD mystery needed to be there. Otherwise, this story would be extremely sad.
Right.
Yeah. I think it's a metaphor for them processing.
Yeah, like, I definitely, it's definitely, like, them coming to that mystery, I think, is, like, them, like, coming to the, like, realization that this is them now, and, like, processing that this is who they have. And, like, that's why their bond grows so much throughout the entire series.
And the fact that they're separated at the end of this one feels terrible.
Yeah, exactly, because they've been together for the entire series.
And they're the only ones they can trust.
Exactly.
And now Sunny, the most vulnerable, is alone.
Way to go, guys.
Good job.
Yeah.
Yeah, I like how Violet, like, keeps, like, coming back to, like, oh my god, like, I promised my mom and dad, like, I would look after my siblings, too, so.
They all have
responsibility.
She's got responsibility. She's the eldest.
She's the oldest.
Yeah.
Could you tell that Violet's my favorite character? Because that's me.
I had no idea. Yeah, Brittany is the oldest of 5 girls. So,
like, no, Sunny.
No.
I have to protect
That's
you.
like all of my siblings in one. And yeah, I'm the youngest, so I'm just like, I don't know.
You're Sunny.
Yeah, I am.
Ooh, I'm Klaus. I'm the middle child.
Oh my god, we figured out who everyone is.
That makes sense too. I do love to.
All right, next time we gotta role play.
A lot.
All right, next time we gotta dress up.
Hell yeah! All I have to do.
I need a ribbon.
All I have to do is wear a Snuggie and a yellow ribbon.
I got the glasses going already. I don't know what else.
I think we're already there. We're perfect.
Yeah. He basically just wears like like a preppy boy school uniform, basically.
Right. I'll get a polo going on.
Yeah, I get like a striped polo. Situation.
I will do that.
Yeah, like blue and white.
Yes.
Hell yeah.
Yes.
I get to just wear a blanket. I'm so excited.
Get a ribbon.
It has to be Victorian era.
Yeah, it's Victorian era, so like we can modernize it if you want to.
No.
Well, I mean, I'm wearing a polo.
Yeah, she's wearing a polo shirt. I have a black blazer I can give you. That works. That'll
I was gonna wear black.
I mean, they all wear black.
Let's do it. I know. I'm gonna get a ribbon.
Yeah.
Do it.
Oh yeah, let's fucking do it. I'm excited.
Oh my gosh.
Tune in next time.
Well, we're wrapping it up anyway.
That's super exciting.
So 5 through 9.
5 through 9. I have from 5 through 6 that I can give. That were my favorite quotes. Because I didn't get any of the other ones because I was busy.
You, like, wrote it down. But didn't.
Yeah, I, like, wrote down, like, okay, yeah, we'll do this. Because I was basically like, I'm going to try to get a page of quotes so that way we can have, like, a thing. Because, like, again, like I said, there's so much quotable shit in these books.
Just put quotes around it.
But then, yeah, because, like, I was like, I need to catch up on reading. I don't have time to write down quotes. It's the same thing with all the notes that I had to take for the other books. I'm like, I can't stop taking notes at, like, chapter 12.
And I just need to fucking finish
it. From the Austere Academy. Friends can make you feel that the world is smaller and less sneaky than it really is because you know people who have similar experiences. It looked exhausting and pointless. 2 things that should be avoided at all costs.
Yes.
Just because something is traditional is no reason to do it, of course. Piracy, for example, is a tradition that has been carried on for hundreds of years, but that doesn't mean we should all attack ships and steal their gold.
Why not?
Our gold!
A person who designs buildings is called an architect, but in the case of Proof Rock Prep, a better term might have been depressed architect. I just like, because Proof Rock Preparatory is just depressing looking building.
No, I know,
but it's just good. I just really like it. Mr. Poe.
We should add it to the dictionary.
This one's great because it's about Mr. Poe.
Great.
Mr. Poe meant well, but a jar of mustard probably also means well and would do a better job of keeping the Baudelaires out of danger.
Yes.
They say something like that a couple times actually.
Yeah.
Like other things with like a monkey or something.
Yeah, like a monkey probably would have been better in this situation. And then from the Airsats elevator, it was darker than a pitch. Black Panther covered. It was darker than a pitch black panther covered in tar, eating black licorice of the very bottom of the deepest part of the Black Sea. That's how fucking dark it is down there, man. It's dark.
Hey, man, when darkness is in, you gotta go all the way or no ways.
This one's great. I just want this to be like a monologue for like a villain at one point.
Yes.
The table of elements does not contain one of the most powerful elements that make up our world, and that is the element of surprise.
That was the best. I loved that quote too.
Oh, God. Every problem has a solution. Sometimes it just takes a long time to find the solution, even if it's right in front of your face. Oh, your nose. Excuse me, sorry. I think that was when, like, Klaus is, like, staring at the elevators.
Yes.
Just, like, looking at them. Trying to understand. Sometimes
That's
words...
a reference to the title, too.
Yeah. Sometimes words are not enough. There are some circumstances so utterly wretched that I cannot describe them in sentences or paragraphs or even a whole series of books. Which I think just, like, encompasses everything so beautifully.
Because we never get feelings.
Yeah. But your imaginings would be airsats, as well as all imaginings are. Which is really sad.
LOL.
Myths are often entertaining, but they're never very helpful. And that's it. That's all I got.
Thanks.
Yeah.
Well, we'll have some more quotes.
Yeah. Hopefully
next
I'll
time,
have
maybe?
all of them written down.
Some quotes.
Some quotes.
So next time is the 20th.
20.
Yes.
And it is, we're going to finish the series with 10 to 13.
Mm-hmm.
And
The climax. And I'm excited for Brittany to finish it. I'm excited for you to finish it. And I'm excited
Great.
to talk about it because I have
So many thoughts are going to happen and
So-
explode all over this stream.
get ready for explosion.
It's like how like those automated voices, like you told Siri to say something. Like, get ready for explosions! Exclamation point.
When the Baudelaires will.
The Baudelaires.
The Baudelaires?
You said it right
Baudelaire?
to say, yeah, Baudelaire.
The Baudelaires.
I think I love Baudelaire the
Baudelaire?
most.
When the Baudelaires return and stream. We're with the tune in next time. Goodbye.
You just want this to end so badly. Anyway.
Get the fuck out of here.
I'm outie.
All right.
Outie 100.
So we'll see you on October 20th. 6
October
p.m.
20th.
Central.
Be here, be square.
Will Sunny be reunited with her siblings? We don't know.
Will she fall off a cliff to her death?
Probably.
Probably. That's a likely thing.
Will Violet lose her ribbon?
Yes.
Yes.
Because I will have it.
Oh, shit, son.
No.
And
No.
end podcast.
And
And goodbye.